Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We are live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a 1 in the live chat, and then we can get today's show started. As I'm waiting for the ones to come in, if you haven't already, as usual, please make sure you hit the like button because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. I see you, ghost watchers. I'm watching you guys. Yeah, I'm watching you guys. All right. And also, lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends. Inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And lastly, Telegram. I can't stress that enough. Please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below. It's pinned in the live chat, and it will be pinned in the comment section at the end of the stream if you're watching this on the replay. Now that I see the ones are coming into the comment section, let's get the show started. Let's get the stream started. The war on Trump continues. It is definitely continuing, and it will not be stopping anytime soon. The resistance is forming. That is the language that is starting to be used now. The resistance is forming, and we even have the Pentagon holding meetings on how to essentially frustrate new Trump administration policies. So even the Pentagon is getting involved now concerning this resistance. And I want to focus in on that for a moment, right? If you all remember a few live streams ago when we were discussing J.B. Pritzker and how he has entered this alliance, this resistance of DNC governors against Trump, when we were reviewing one of Chicago's local news media outlets, and they used that word resistance, I said that was a very interesting choice of words. I think we should take note of that because language matters, and the kind of wording that people use, that means something, right? When you're saying stuff like that, referring to what's happening as a resistance, and then as I'm, perusing through YouTube, just going through, news clips and whatnot, I came across this right here, right? I came across this, and I'll make it bigger for you, from MSNBC. And let me just take a moment to scroll down so you can see it better. I found this title, the title of this video here, Lawrence Tribe, "It's not over. The resistance is about to ignite." So as you can see, the language being used of the resistance against Trump, this is becoming a thing, right? This is becoming a thing to refer to the anti-Trump movement as a resistance. And what I want to do is that I want to take a quick moment just to kind of play the opening monologue to this video. We don't need to listen to the whole thing because we are talking about MSNBC, so there's nothing profound actually coming from them, over here concerning this. But, there were a few things that were stated that I just want to highlight just concerning the hypocrisy of the DNC media with their double speak, right? I do want to highlight a few of those things. If you all remember, democracy was on the ballot. That was the slogan of the day pre-election. And then once Donald Trump won, all of a sudden the women of The View and DNC outlets were saying, well, democracy works. Our democracy is going fine. Well, I thought democracy was on the ballot. How does it all of a sudden work? See the double speak there, the forked tongue that they speak with, right? So I just want to get into a couple of those examples here with this MSNBC news clip. So let's jump into this very quickly, and then we're going to get into the meat of the discussion concerning the Pentagon's meetings and what they've been discussing concerning their attempts to frustrate new Trump era policies moving forward, right? But let's jump into this clip first.
A significant part of this defense will play out at the state.
Let me rewind it back just a little bit.
Professor Lawrence Tribe, one of the foremost constitutional law experts in the country, argues that America's unique structure makes it difficult to dismantle its democratic foundations quickly. To our advantage, we have a network of institutional safeguards ranging from state powers and judicial independence to the press and educators, all of which now must be activated in defense of our democracy.
Let's stop right there. When we were being just bombarded with the fear-mongering nonsense of Project 2025, Trump is going to be a dictator on the first day. He's going to strip away the Constitution. He's going to be a dictator that's never going to leave office once he gets into office. It was literally folks like you and me who are saying none of that is going to happen because we have checks and balances in this country. Like, you just can't enter into the presidency and do whatever you want for the very reasons that he's explaining right now. But now all of a sudden they're pretending like they weren't fear-mongering you to death, as if we didn't have checks and balances to prevent what they said was going to happen. Now that Trump has been elected as president, and we all know that all of the fear-mongering foolishness that they said was going to happen is not going to happen, in order for them to save face, now they want to play games and talk about checks and balances. And we have this on our side. We have checks and balances. You know, we have the different branches of government. We have the press. That is literally what we were all saying beforehand, that what you're saying is a lie because of checks and balances. Now they're trying to lay claim to checks and balances because, once again, they're going to look quite foolish when none of the fear-mongering things they said Trump was going to do comes to fruition. They're going to look crazy. So now they want to use the talking point of checks and balances. But let's let him carry on. Let's let him keep speaking before we move on to the meat of the discussion.
A significant part of this defense will play out at the state level, where governors and state attorneys general are already vowing to stand up to Trump and protect vulnerable populations, including women, the LGBTQ plus community, and immigrants.
So that's where the DNC's priorities lie. With women, right? Reproductive rights, apparently, the LGBTQ community, and illegal immigrants. In that order, that's where the DNC's priorities lie. And he's also now speaking on the resistance that we've been covering over this last week, right? Over the past 7 days, concerning the resistance as it pertains to the union between California with Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, Healy, right? Governor Healy in Massachusetts, and Governor Hochul in New York. So we're going down that list of those that are part of the resistance. But I also found it very interesting that he made it a point to highlight, and I'm glad that he did, where their priorities lie. The DNC's priorities are going to continue to lie with reproductive rights, the LGBTQ community, and illegal immigrants. Got it? Good. Thank you for letting us know where your priorities are.
In California, for example, state officials have been working for months to Trump-proof the state. State prosecutors have proactively written briefs to challenge many of the policies that they expect Donald Trump to pursue. Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday called for a special session of the California legislature to safeguard California values as the state prepares to raise legal hurdles against the next Trump administration. Here in New York, the governor, Kathy Hochul, the attorney general, Letitia James, announced an initiative to protect New Yorkers' rights under a plan called the Empire State Freedom Initiative. The new measure aims to protect reproductive rights, civil rights, immigrants, the environment, and a potential abuse of power.
Once again, they keep letting you know where their priorities lie. Women's rights, whatever that's supposed to mean, right? Civil rights, they're talking about the LGBT community, and migrants, which we all know is illegal immigrants.
In addition to state-level resistance, federal judges also retain a degree of independence. Though some judges lean conservative, their interpretations of the law do not always align with an authoritarian agenda, and it's not immediately clear that conservative justices like Amy Coney Barrett will give Donald Trump the free rein he wishes to do as he pleases.
But isn't that what they said would happen? Correct me if I'm wrong. She's a Supreme Court judge, right? She's a Supreme Court judge, if I'm not mistaken, correct? And unless I'm incorrect in that, we were told that with the conservative Supreme Court, Trump is literally going to be able to turn the military on U.S. citizens and his political opponents that he politically disagrees with, and is going to be able to mow them down in the street. And the Supreme Court is going to allow it because they're a conservative Supreme Court, right, that has given Donald Trump complete immunity. Complete immunity. Now they're telling you that not all conservative judges are on board. Not all of them are on board. But you literally just told us 2 weeks ago now at this point that they were all on board, and that this conservative Supreme Court would let Trump do whatever he wants to do. Now they're literally saying the opposite. I find that very interesting.
But beyond government institutions, which have disappointed us in the past, there is chiefly the role of civil society, we, the people, who will collectively form a crucial bulwark against a key authoritarian weapon, historical revisionism. Strong men rewrite history to justify their abuses of power, and they depend on fear to control their followers.
No, the DNC depends on fear mongering to control their followers, and you failed miserably with that this election, but carry on.
From educators to historians to journalists and activists, we are now called upon to play a critical role in keeping the public informed and preserving historical memory, creating a cultural political resistance to attempts to further erase democratic norms. It can be hard in this moment to see past our immediate despair, and yet our nation's history is defined by resistance to tyranny in its many forms, and history serves to remind us that this fight is far from over. When we come back, I'll be joined by the legendary...
No, thanks. We don't need to listen to what this man had to say. So that's all I wanted to discuss concerning his little opening monologue. You see the doublespeak. You see the contradictions and the hypocrisy that's going on in everything that he said. They told us that the Supreme Court was on board with Trump. He would have complete immunity to literally mow us down in the street if we disagree with him politically. Now they're saying that's not the case. They're saying that he was going to be a tyrant on day one, and he was going to be Mussolini and all these other things, and that he'll never leave power. Now they're telling you, oh, well, there's checks and balances, so that's not going to happen. Right? They're going back on everything that they said was going to happen because they have to save face for when it doesn't happen. At the same time, they're putting in a bunch of measures with their resistance, right, in order to block any and every piece of policy that he's going to try and usher through. And I want to get into that right now. Let's jump into that concerning secret meetings happening with the Pentagon. Right? Because even on that high of a level, not just with the governors, but with the Pentagon, we see that they're working currently against Trump to undermine whatever policy agendas he wants to push forward. So let's get into this article right here. The article is titled, Pentagon Officials Discuss Scenarios to Countermand Controversial Orders from Incoming Commander-in-Chief Report. Let's jump into this article right now. Let me just scoot on over. And the article reads as such. Okay, move this paper out the way. Pentagon officials have been discussing how to counter potential orders from President-elect Donald Trump, CNN reported, citing defense sources. So just so we're clear, this isn't me saying any of this stuff. This isn't me pushing, misinformation, conspiracy theory nonsense. This is a report that came from CNN because obviously only DNC news outlets tell the truth, right? Just so that we're clear, right? The officials are gaming out various scenarios, including the possibility Trump will deploy military troops to assist mass deportations. They are going to do everything they can, right? The establishment, do everything that they can to frustrate any attempts at mass deportation. They do not want that to happen at all whatsoever. It is unbelievable the lengths that this government is willing to go to protect illegal immigrants. They do a better job protecting the illegal immigrant population than they do its actual citizen population. That is beyond unbelievable. The article continues to read, and a potential reclassification of federal employees to make them easier to fire, CNN reported on Friday. We are all preparing and planning for the worst case scenario, but the reality is that we don't know how this is going to play out yet, a defense official said, according to CNN. Chief among the concerns for the unelected bureaucrats, according to CNN, is the idea Trump could reinstate Schedule F, a Trump-era executive order which made it easier to dismiss civil servants. The order turned groups of federal employees into at-will employees subject to dismissal based on performance. I don't find an issue with that. What in the world is the problem with turning federal employees into at-will employees subject to dismissal based on performance? Isn't that how you're judged at your job? The job that you wake up and go to every day, every morning, afternoon, or evening, isn't your job contingent upon your performance and how well you do at your job? And if you don't do your job well, then you'll be fired, you'll be let go, you'll be dismissed. That's how folks like you and me in the real world have to operate. So why these federal employees don't have to operate under those same rules is beyond me. It's beyond me, but it should all be the same. It should be based on performance. So once again, I don't see an issue with all this. I don't know what the point is and what the need is to have all type of secret meetings just to hold federal employees to the same standard that you and me are held to when you go to work every day. It's completely ridiculous and insane. My email has been inundated on this topic, a defense official referring to Schedule F told CNN. So they're terrified. They're terrified that they will actually be held to a standard that they have to live up to. President Joe Biden abolished Schedule F within his first week in office. Trump has previously vowed to reinstate it, claiming in a 2023 video he would restore the order and would wield that power very aggressively, as he should. I mean, I don't see an issue there. I don't know what these guys are crying about. While current Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has warned against inappropriate political encroachments against career civil servants, Trump has referred to some within the Pentagon as rogue bureaucrats. So they're all trying to protect their own position within the Pentagon. We'll see to what degree they'll be successful in frustrating Trump's efforts to shake things up. But they're working very hard and working overtime with these meetings in order to frustrate any moves that Trump attempts to make. Other defense officials fretted about the potential for Trump to authorize the military to assist local and state police departments in mass deportations, according to CNN. One Army official reportedly said they could imagine Trump ordering several thousand troops to the border. Can somebody please explain to me what's the issue with sending the U.S. military to the border? To protect the border and to protect the country. We have the U.S. military literally deployed all across the world. So it's okay for them to be deployed all across the world to protect other nations' borders, but we can't have them here in their home country to defend their border. Think about how insane that is, that this is even a complaint and or a concern. Even when it comes to using the military concerning mass deportations. What do you want them to do? When you have governors in these liberal states, right? Sanctuary cities, sanctuary states that are telling you, we're not going to allow Trump to collaborate with our local law enforcement. Well, then what's the next step? Outside of hiring a lot more ICE agents, use the U.S. military. What's the problem? What's the issue? There isn't one at all whatsoever. When you're talking about removing foreign nationals that are like Tren de Aragua, who are literally taking over property and territory within the United States. Tren de Aragua is literally taking over property and territory. So what would be the issue with sending the U.S. military to remove a literal foreign threat operating within the country? Once again, the fact that anybody would be opposed to this is astonishing and beyond me. The officials also told CNN they worried Trump would use the military to combat the enemy within. I can't wait to get to this part here. I'm so sick of this talking point. The officials also told CNN they worried Trump would use the military to combat the enemy within, referring to comments Trump made about political opponents such as Democrat California Representative Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff. Let me just keep reading this. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics, Trump told Fox News. And it should be very easily handled if necessary by the National Guard, or if really necessary by the military, because they can't let that happen. Officials speculated Trump will have a very difficult relationship with the Department of Defense in his second term than he did in the first, CNN reported. Let's go back to this enemy within comment, because it just drives me up the wall how this is completely taken out of context intentionally. Trump never said or stated, because we're going to watch the clip in context, that the U.S. military would be used to go after Democrats, to go after those who he politically disagrees with. He's never stated that. Literally, the quote that's being referenced here, when we listen to the video in context, which we're going to do, he was referring to political unrest on election day. They were talking about the migrant crisis. And then the woman interviewing Trump made reference to an Afghan refugee who was charged with plotting an election day massacre. There was an Afghan refugee charged with plotting an election day massacre. They were speaking about him and the potential threat of those illegal immigrants who may be on a terrorist watch list, who may be convicted criminals, concerns about what they may do on election day to create political unrest. And Trump would go on to say he's not really concerned about foreign nationals as much as he's concerned about those radical leftists, right? The Antifa type. And in the event that this occurs, if need be, the National Guard could take care of it. And if it's really a problem, the U.S. military, because that can't happen. But the context of the conversation was revolving around and within election day unrest, political unrest. Let's jump into this clip here so we can hear that in its full context, because that is a talking point that drives me crazy, the degree to which it's completely taken out of context, and people just lie on that. They just lie. Let's get into this right now. And please hit the like button if you haven't already, and follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. If you're not following me on Telegram, that is extremely important. Let's jump into this clip right here.
And you told us this back in 2015 and 2016, that Venezuela was emptying their prisons and they were coming here, and you were mocked for it. How did you know back then that these Venezuelan gangs were coming to America?
Common sense. It's just common sense. If I'm running Venezuela like their gentleman who's becoming very rich because we're buying oil from Venezuela, you can believe this? We have more liquid gold under our feet than anybody else, and we're buying oil from Venezuela. He's emptying out his prisons, but he's not the only one. It's not Venezuela. It's everyone all over the world. The Congo in Africa, we've taken in hundreds of people from their prisons. The Congo, all the way in Africa. Many, many countries. The Middle East, we're taking in massive numbers of people, and many terrorists, and they're coming into our country, and they're Middle Eastern terrorists. And from Asia. We're taking in, and a lot from South America.
There was an Afghan refugee charged with plotting U.S. Election Day massacre.
Nothing surprises me.
What about that, though? Are you expecting chaos on Election Day?
No, I don't think so. Not from the side that votes for Trump.
But I'm just wondering if these outside agitators will start up on Election Day. Let's say you win. I mean, let's remember, you've got 50,000 Chinese nationals in this country in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You have people on the terrorist watch list, 350 in the last couple of years. You got, like you said, 13,000 murderers and 15,000.
Right.
What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful Election Day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of Election Day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
If you are following along, he clearly was talking about political unrest on Election Day, and how I'm not as concerned really with foreign nationals and whatever they're talking about with their threats as much as I am with the enemy within concerning far radical leftists. To which, if that's an issue, and if need be, we will deploy the National Guard, and if it's really necessary, the U.S. military. Nowhere in anything that you just listened to in its proper context, as we just did he state he was going to use the U.S. military against those he politically disagrees with, like Nancy Pelosi or any other Democrat for that matter. But this is the way these people continue to lie. This is how they continue to lie. And this is why so many people are losing faith or have lost faith in the media completely, as far as the mainstream media is concerned. And now people are running over to podcasts and platforms like mine and many others, because you can't find the truth with these folks on mainstream media anymore, because all they do is lie repeatedly, over and over and over again. And this is also why Trump won by such a landslide victory, because more and more people are seeing the truth behind the establishment. More and more people are seeing the truth behind it. And with all that being said, that's going to do it for today's stream. It's going to do it for today's show. I just wanted to make sure to lay out once again, as we see the language being used concerning resistance, we see this resistance is forming, but it's not just with the governors of these liberal states and cities that we see here, but it's also with officials within the Pentagon that are holding meetings as well on how to essentially stop and frustrate Trump and any of his efforts that he may make to put forth meaningful change by way of policy. It's literally everybody versus Trump. So now what I want to do is get into the super chats to give my thank yous as we round things out. If you haven't already, please hit the like button on your way out. If you're not going to stick around for the super chats, just please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And Telegram. Please follow me on Telegram. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below. It's pinned in a live chat and will be in the comment section after the stream is over. And let's go through the love shown on this channel. Shout out to my man Cutthroat Ra. Sent the initial super chat and then spun the block 2 more times. Cutthroat Ra said they can get deported together. Yes, in the immortal words now of Tom Homan. As far as families are concerned, you know, you're going to be separating children from their families. They can get deported together. The entire family can get deported together. Shout out to that dude Saul. What's up to my man Saul, keeping my family fed? He said maybe Scrappy and dude have a fantasy about chaos. Yeah, these people love chaos, man. They love chaos. They're all about chaos, you know. or pushing misinformation, right? Because they are the ones that love pushing the misinformation while they charge us with it. They love pushing misinformation about chaos. And now that they know that that chaos isn't going to happen by way of a Trump dictatorship, that he's never going to leave the office, and he's going to be Mussolini and Stalin and all the other people, now you see on MSNBC, as I played earlier, they're walking all that stuff back by talking about, well, you know, we have checks and balances, and not all Republican judges are in favor of what Trump wants to do. Oh, really? You literally told us the opposite about 2 weeks ago. Now you're saying something different. Go figure. Shout out to my man Cutthroat Ra, who came back, spun the block, and said these people are crazy, and the people that follow them are lunatics as well. They are. They are. Especially people like what was their representative out of California, Katie Porter, I believe her name was. If you all remember in that live stream, what she said about her 12-year-old daughter. I'm not going to repeat it here, but yes, these people are completely insane. And Cutthroat Rod came back again. He said, oh, by the way, I'm a veteran. Give me stuff. Veterans are done dirty in this country. They're done so dirty in this country. Just as I leave, for those of you who don't know, years ago, you know, I was a Lyft driver. I drove Lyft full time all day, every day, just in my car, going around and around and around, picking people up and dropping people off. I forget what it's called. Is it the compound? I don't know if it's called like the VA or something like that. You know, it's a compound where military veterans, and it's right next to UCLA. Somebody please help me on the live chat if you know what I'm talking about, what it's called. But it's I don't know if it's the VA, right? But it's a military little compound where it's a compound next to UCLA College here in California. Yes, the VA. Thank you. Right, where, you know, the U.S. military men could go and, you know, either live there or seek help, you know, allegedly, or to get the things that they need. Right. My point is this: I picked this guy up once. I didn't know where we were going. He was filthy, respectfully, you know, the guy was filthy. The stuff he brought in the car with him was filthy, you know, but he was a nice guy. And I didn't know where we're going at first, but the long and short of it is that I took him to the VA, right next to UCLA. And I knew where that place was and I knew what it was, but I never actually like went inside it because I have no reason to, right? I'm not a military man. I've never been in the military. When I took him into the VA and I realized, oh, he's former military. Oh my God, it was so filthy. It literally looked like, and I didn't mean to be throwing this around, but it looked like we just like entered into the projects or something like that. It was filthy. Everybody in there was looking dirty and bummy. The landscape of it all was nasty. And I was just thinking to myself, yo, this is crazy. So these military men that are dealing with whatever issues that they're dealing with, you know, whatever kind of, you know, mental issues or homelessness, they're sick, whatever. This is what you have for them. This is where they have to go. It was nasty. I pulled up with the guy in my car into the VA and I was like, what is this? This is for the U.S. military. This is for the veterans. This is what you have for them. It's crazy how nasty it was in there. I don't want to belabor the point. You all get it. But yeah, concerning, you know, U.S. military men, and shout out to Cutthroat Ra for being our resident veteran here. Yeah, man. I mean, if you're gonna give free stuff to anybody, you know, hold the veterans down at least. Hold the veterans down at least. They're getting treated. The legal immigrants are getting treated better than them at this point. Literally, legal immigrants are getting treated better than everybody, you know. But yeah, you know, give it to them. Give it to them. My man said the VA is clean in Florida, bro. I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I'm not surprised. No, out here in California, the one that's next to, literally right next to UCLA, that one is filthy. It is filthy. And it was unbelievable when I dropped that man off. And I felt bad for him and everybody that was there. But with all that being said, that does it for today's show. Thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And Telegram. I'm going to keep beating that drum. Please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link is in the description box below. It's in the live chat right now and will be pinned in the comment section once the stream is over. And I think that we're seeing a pattern here. The VA is clean in Florida. We just got confirmation that the VA is clean in Texas too. But here in California, like I told you, it's filthy. It's disgusting. What is it? Texas is Republican red. Florida is red. California is blue. Exactly, Peg B. Clean in the red states, filthy in the blue states. I don't think any of us are surprised, though. And I will end it there. Thank you all for joining me and have a great afternoon.